I did not realize how much hormones were affecting my daughter's development until I watched Kyle Landi's story. What his parents shared completely shifted how I think about pediatric care for kids with Down syndrome. If you have never heard about Kyle Landi, he's an incredible young man with Down syndrome who happens to also be a bodybuilder. During this podcast, his parents are raising something that maybe none of us even talk about: hormonal deficiencies in men with Down syndrome, just men in general. But the truth is, just because the conversation is about boys, it does not mean we cannot apply it to our daughters. This video opened the door for me. It made me realize that there are whole areas of our kids' health that we may be missing. Today, I want to walk you through what I learned, what it made me question, and what I think every parent needs to start asking their doctor.
Any other man out there who has a testosterone level of 200 gets on testosterone replacement.
Right.
Why are these men with Down
Such a
syndrome
fight.
not on testosterone
Yeah.
therapy? It helps them cognitively, their heart,
Wow.
their bone density.
Ligaments, joints,
The
tendons.
reason a
Wow.
lot of young men with Down syndrome do not have the longevity that they should is because they lack testosterone.
Watching this for the first time left me shocked. I don't know, it was just odd to hear someone talk about hormonal deficiencies. I immediately began to think about myself. First of all, I was like, wait, hold on. Do I have low testosterone?
I need a doctor. Is there a doctor?
But it also made me think about my daughter. How does this apply to women with Down syndrome? And it encouraged me to take the next step and do some research about what's going on in my daughter and what could potentially happen to my daughter as she ages. If I know about her hormonal deficiencies, then it can possibly explain why my daughter is doing this when she's not supposed to. So I made a mental note that, hey, first, we need to talk about this with, with the community. Also need to start getting serious about doing some research about the challenges that my daughter will most likely face as she gets older. It also made me think about my daughter's visits to the doctors and the advice that we're getting. It isn't the Bible, so I should be more cautious about the advice given to us and become more educated so that when I'm having conversations with specialists, with doctors, I know what questions to ask and I know what answers are full of BS. Before watching this video, I probably would have just followed the pediatrician's ideas. Get this doctor, get that doctor. Okay, and thought that it would be enough. And when issues would occur, instead of trying to find the answers out myself or at least educate myself on the matter, I would turn to the pediatrician and listen to all of what they are saying. Now, after discovering Kyle Landi's story, I've realized how bad of an idea that was and how silly it was too. I really have to buckle down on the research and figure some of this stuff out myself, or just enhance the conversations that I'm having with my pediatrician so that we can develop stronger answers. Because at the end of the day, these specialists, these doctors, they may not be as educated as I'm thinking they are in Down syndrome. What I know now is that my doctors and we are truly a team. And I have to put in the effort just as they do when we're at these meetings. So it's very important that I study up on what each specialist is doing. Why are they here? How can they help me? So that when we have our appointments, they're more effective than ever before. I'm bringing this up not to instill fear in others or panic. I gotta hurry up and do this. It's so much we gotta do.
Deep breath. Deep breath.
I'm just trying to express how important it is to be equipped as parents, not only as parents of a child with Down syndrome, but as parents of typical children as well. Our hormones impact everything from growth, mood, sleep, energy, even how our kids interact socially. And yet, most of us are never told what to look for until something goes wrong. Like I was saying earlier, the podcast was centered mostly around Kyle Landi and Down syndrome men. So I took it into my own hands to do some research about Down syndrome girls. And here's what I discovered. Now, there's more, and I'm leaving it up to you to find out that information. But here's a little bit of what I discovered. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, hypothyroidism is the most common endocrine disorder in children with Down syndrome, affecting up to 28 to 40% of them, and it doesn't stop there. Girls with Down syndrome are also at increased risk for delayed puberty, low estrogen, and even early ovarian failure. And a lot of us aren't told to watch for these signs early. This is why we can't afford to be passive. The sooner we recognize these imbalances, the sooner we can ask the right questions, run the right tests, and advocate for the right care. Looking back at a particular appointment with my pediatrician, she just began to throw out specialists. And I was like, wait, what? We need that? What is this? What? Who is that? What? This really confused, really perplexed. And I just went home and thought everything would be okay. Everything will figure itself out. But now I'm learning how complex the human body is and how many layers there are to our children's health. I don't know what the future holds for my daughter. She may need more therapy, she may not, but at least now I have a path forward. I believe every parent should be as confident as Kyle Landi's parents. And that's what I'm striving for today. And every kid with or without Down syndrome deserves care that sees all of who they are, not just the obvious symptoms. If we can name our children's challenges, we can face them. That's how we help them thrive. Have you ever asked your pediatrician about hormone testing? What questions did you wish you asked earlier? Drop your stories in the comments so that we all can learn together. And if this video sparked anything in you, share it with fellow parents. Awareness leads to action. Peace and one love.